Good day, you're watching Businessworld Live. I'm Dani Laurel.
And I'm Jess De Los Santos. Here are today's top stories. The Monetary Board will hold their next policy meeting later this week, and economists expect a rate hike of up to 50 basis points.
Now, after rejecting a plan for the importation of 300,000 metric tons of sugar, President Bongbong Marcos says the country may import additional volumes of the commodity after all.
Japan's Nomura Bank trims its GDP forecast for the Philippines this year as the economic growth is poised for a slowdown in the second half of 2022.
And the Philippines and China have agreed to return to the negotiating table to discuss three major railway projects here in the country.
We begin our broadcast with the Bangko Sentral widely expected to raise interest rates by another 50 basis points, this as inflation accelerated to its highest in nearly 4 years in July. A Businessworld poll showed that 13 out of 18 analysts anticipate the Monetary Board to increase its benchmark rate by half a percentage point at its meeting on August 18th. Security Bank Chief Economist Robert Dan Rosa says inflation remains the key consideration for further tightening as soaring prices affect growth and thwarts consumption. Recall that the CPI zoomed to 6.4% in July, the highest since October 2018. For Letran economist Emmanuel Lopez, the BSP has no other recourse but to hike rates by 50 bips to follow the U.S. Federal Reserve's move to increase rates by almost 200 basis points in order to soften the impact of a possible recession. So far, the Bangko Sentral has increased rates by 125 bips this year, bringing the benchmark rate to 3.25%.
Now, after initially rejecting an order to import 300,000 metric tons of sugar, President Bongbong Marcos says he is open to importing additional sugar supply after all. However, he says that imports of the commodity will not reach the volume that was earlier lobbied by the Sugar Regulatory Administration. The president said he is only open to importing 150,000 metric tons of sugar by the last quarter if supply issues persist.
Maaari, bandang Oktubre, baka yung supply na nandito sa Pilipinas ay paubos na. Baka sakali ay kailangan natin mag-import. Pero kakaunti lang, 150,000 tons para sa buong taon na ito.
Cruz Angeles announced the resignation of Agriculture Undersecretary Leocadio Sebastian. That's over the issuance of the sugar order that would have allowed the importation of 300,000 metric tons of sugar. Agriculture workers have also called on other board officials of the Sugar Regulatory Administration who signed the unauthorized order to resign. Just yesterday, Attorney Roland Beltran, a member of the board, tendered his resignation, citing health reasons. But Beltran said his vote in favor of the order has been withdrawn and negated due to its non-compliance with laws. Malacanang has earlier described the order as illegal, saying Undersecretary Sebastian convened the SRA board without the knowledge of the president. Angeles says Sebastian could also face possible criminal liabilities, but notes that the government would focus first on the investigation.
Although he has resigned, if there is criminal liability here, hindi siya safe, kumbaga, sa criminal cases. Bahagi ng investigasyon ay titignan kung may malis. Kung sinasadya nila ito, alam nilang mali, ginawa pa rin nila.
Now let's dig deeper into this sugar mess with Manolet Lamata, the president of the United Sugar Producers Federation. Good morning, sir.
All right, we seem to be having... Okay,
there you
go,
are.
Sir Manolet.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear us well, sir?
Okay, now I'm good. Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
All right, sir, the president is signaling the possibility of importing 150,000 metric tons of sugar by October already. He says if supply is expected to dwindle or if that actually happens, baka sakali. That is just half of the 300,000 metric tons, which of course was ordered in number 4 of the SRA Administrator, Serafica. They said that this might already be depleted by this month. What is the status, sir, of our sugar supply, and will this 150,000 be needed?
Well, when we talk of sugar supply, what I have been reiterating, my federation, UNIFED, has been reiterating months and months ago, and written requests and letters to Administrator Sarafica, is to do a nationwide survey. Survey all sugar mills, their bodegas, and all bodegas of traders. There and only there that you can explicitly know how much stocks of sugar do you have left. Because we already know more or less what is our consumption in the Philippines. It's somewhere between 160 to 180,000 metric tons a month. That is how much we consume. So knowing your stocks in the bodegas, you can already make your figures. Kukulang ba tayo? Kailangan tayo angat? Anong klaseng sugar ang kulang? Raw, which is brown, or white, which is refined. But none of that, sir, has been done. It has been going to deaf ears. Mr. Sarafica and his board never had any survey of whatever reason, because he is just making his own surveys in his head without the actual and physical survey po. Yon sana ang kailangan natin.
Sir Manalet, is that also in a way implying that there might actually be more supply than what is being reported, hence the need for a survey? And would that actually be something that we would need, considering that there is an immediate need, considering that you have reports again of supply being tight? Kumbaga parang, is it the time now to conduct the survey, considering that it seems to be na medyo tight yung supply sa market, hence of course the increase in prices? Should we be at least addressing first the need for additional supply?
Yes, I believe so. No, first, the announcements of the SRA way back and up to now, they're saying and they're telling everybody, kakapos na, paubos na. By August, wala ng sugar. That is contrary to what we are all seeing. You go to the palengke, you go to the supermarket, may asukal. Yun lang, sobrang mahal. So walang kakapusan, walang kakaubusan. Nandyan yung asukal. Yun lang, ang presyo is just way too high. Even us producers, we are complaining. Because we also have households and our wives are punching us every day when they buy the sugar. They're telling us, wow, grabe kayo ha. Sobra-sobra na kayo. So, bugbog din kami.
Sir, why is the price exceedingly high? Apart, of course, from the usual inflation issues which have been linked to, of course, the oil prices. Why are the sugar prices exceptionally high in retail at the moment?
Okay, let's backtrack a bit. No, prices are high, more than normal, as you just mentioned. Super high fuel prices, from 25 pesos per liter, it shot up to 85.90. Yung fertilizers po, our inputs, from 700 pesos per bag, it is now close to 5,000. And yung salaries have also increased, which we all agree that it has to be increased because things are just going way high, too high for anybody to buy anything in the market. So you compound all of these things, and yes, prices have to go up, but not at that price on the retail store. That is sobra-sobra po. Hindi na tama yun. Dapat yung sa retail natin should hover between 80 and 85 pesos lang po. Hindi yung 100, 110. Grabe. Hindi na yan. So what is manipulating that? I am suspecting po na ito si Mr. Sarafica. I hope I am wrong. The only way to do this is to do the survey. He is hiding. He is protecting these people who are keeping this sugar so that they are manipulating the market para tataas yung sugar. You know, these people bought sugar from us at 45 pesos per kilo. Yung raw sugar. Okay, they have to refine, they have to do this, they have to do that. My God, not $100. That is way too much. That is way too much.
Now, more to that point, I mean, of course, we have to get the side of Sarafica on that one, but are you implying as well that there's been an ongoing problem when it comes to traders and middlemen and possibly cartels as well?
Yeah, I cannot blame the traders, okay? That is their job. It's their business, it's trading. They buy low, they sell high. Iba na yung usapan kung may manipulation and with the help of government, which in this place now, I sincerely believe it is being helped by Mr. Sarapica by the very reason of no survey. You know, he hasn't surveyed for so many years. The previous administrator sitting in the SRA, 3 surveys a year, and that is yearly. Prior to the start of milling, isang survey. So as they will know exactly how much sugar stock is left.
Okay. Sir,
Mid-
given this, sir, is this the immediate need or for the prices lang to subside?
Yeah.
Are you in favor of importation immediately? Or you say that, you know, if maayos tong problema, where
won't be any
meron naman pala talagang supply, there is actually no need to import. Would you say that the domestic supply would actually be enough?
I will go with the decision of the President. It's a very wise decision. Mag-aangkat ngayon 150,000 metric tons of refined sugar, yung white, yung puti. Okay, immediately. And at the same time, sabay, ipasurvey niya po buong Pilipinas para malaman na natin once and for all, totoo ba to na wala na tayong asukal or mayroon pa? Kung mayroon pa, hanggang saan? Para may basis siya and he can make the right decisions in the incoming months.
Okay. Now, other than that, you also did mention in the past that you have at least the bidding for 4,000 sacks of sugar has already started. To clarify, this is for raw sugar, no? And what's the update on that? And will that actually be enough? 4,000 sacks, we're dealing with how many kilograms of sugar? Is that enough to actually meet demand? Is this just solely for retailers, or are we also dealing here with industrial need?
No, I pointed that out because that was actual production po of the week. That is very little as far as we're concerned, but that is already the start. That is the start of the incoming new crop for the sugar industry. Rest assured po, I can assure the public, I can assure the consumers, and even the President, by mid-September po, sugar will be flooding into our local markets. No question about that. Because right now, an additional 4 mills, sugar mills, have started operating. So yun, by mid-September po, dami-dami ng asukal natin.
Sir, can we say the same for the sugar prices, that this is already the peak and expected to go down for consumers?
Definitely. Right now, I think the trading houses are a bit finicky because I think they feel that they will be surveyed. So lalabasan na yung stocks nila na tinago. So that will flood a bit the market, and it's going to bring down prices.
All right.
Sir, last question. No? You have SRA officials, of course, letting go of their posts. How liable is the Sugar Regulatory Administration over this whole debacle? What reforms would you suggest?
Well, I would say they are fully liable and accountable po. You know, they fooled all of us. They made us believe, my federation, that this was ordered by the President, that there was a national emergency, that we had to import 300,000 metric tons. Because they requested me to write a resolution, what is my stand into this? So I issued a resolution not questioning the wisdom of the President in wanting to import 300,000 metric tons because there is a national emergency. Ito yung presyo sa retail is just way too high. We are not in conformity with this neither. Only to find out that the President was fooled. The President was used. His name was used by this unscrupulous SRA board. Ginamit lang siya, ginamit kami lahat for them to do whatever they wanted, which is totally illegal. Number one, ina-issue nila yung sugar order without the consent of the President. Number two, instead of 300,000 metric tons of refined, they signed 150,000 of brown raw sugar. My God, we are already starting milling. We are going to be awash with brown sugar and they're going to import 150,000. Sino ba? Sino na naman ang finabor nila dito? Somebody made money here again. And it's not the industry. Yun, madaming isasagutin nila to. I hope these people go to jail because I will bring sugar for their coffee every day po.
All right. Well, time to get to the bottom of all
Definitely,
of these
since we also
issues.
have a House probe starting on this one this week.
Thank you so much. That was, of course, Manolet Lamata, President of the United Sugar Producers Federation. Thank you, sir.
Now let's pause for a quick break, but coming right up after that. Japan's Nomura Bank trims its growth outlook for the Philippines this year as the economy is poised for a slowdown in the second half. And you're still watching Business World Live here on One News. I'm Jess De Los Santos.
And I'm Dani Laurel.
Now, this just in, some oil companies have announced that they will be implementing another oil price rollback effective tomorrow. Clean Fuel, Petrogas, and Sea Oil said they will trim gasoline prices by 10 centavos per liter. Diesel prices will go down by 1 peso and 5 centavos per liter. And kerosene will see a reduction of 45 centavos per liter. Other oil firms are expected to announce their separate rollback advisories within a day.
Now, the Philippines and China have resumed negotiations on 3 major transport projects in the Philippines. These are the PNR South Long Haul Project, the Subic-Clark Railway, and the Mindanao Railway Project. Now, the agreement to resume talks over these projects took place during the DOTR Secretary Jaime Bautista and Chinese Ambassador Huang Xilian's first official meeting that was at the Chinese Embassy last week. Now, the Chinese ambassador said his discussion with the transport chief on railway cooperation was, quote, constructive. Recall that President Bongbong Marcos has directed the DOTR to go back to the negotiating table to secure loan agreements for the 3 railway projects.
Now, this one from the Philippine Star. Japanese investment bank Nomura has slashed its full-year growth forecast for the Philippines to 6.3%. That's from the original 6.6%, as further slowdown is expected in the second half. Nomura's new forecast is now lower than the government's 6.5 to 7.5% target for
reach. This despite investment approvals declining sharply in the first half of the year. PEZA OIC Tereso Panga says the downgraded target has been officially submitted to
last year. The PSC attributes this to big market-to-market loss on financial assets, reaching 140 million pesos at fair value, a reversal from the over 57 million peso gain last year. Mark-to-market losses happen when securities are priced at a market value lower than the price paid to acquire them.
Eileen Anunciacion Zosa is the new president of the Basis Conversion and Development Authority. Zosa, a career official for 27 years, is the first woman to lead the BCDA. She took her oath of office at Malacanang last August 11th. Now, at her oath-taking, Zosa said the BCDA's projects will have three important elements: sustainability, gender diversity, and sensitivity, as well as smart components.
And those are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate front today. I'm Jess De Los Santos.
And I'm Danny Laurel. We are One News, all sides, all the time. Don't go away. We'll give you the latest on the local bourse when Business World Live returns. Stay with us.
And you're still watching Business World Live here on One News. Now, Dan, this week will be pivotal, of course, for the markets with bets on what the BSP will do come August 18. House of Bourse opening this mid-August.
All right, well, you can see right here, we are down a touch, actually swinging between gains and losses. 6,700, okay, that's good news. So in the past 3 days, Jess, we've actually been up by 3.5%. Now, what is driving this? You did mention the BSP decision, that's on August 18, but you also have bets, as we reported earlier on on a 50 basis point hike, but also the possibility that that might be lower because, of course, of the lower than expected GDP print in the second quarter. Another thing that might be positively impacting the markets is the China data that is being released today. They're expected to show more recovery there. Now, let's take a quick peek at which ones are moving. Jess, you can see here on my terminal, Mega World, so up by 2 9/10%. Of course, lower than expected rise in interest rates might bode well for the property sector, but you've also got a mismatch LPG Alliance and a couple of our telcos also in the leaderboard, Jess.
And that's, of course, something we have to be keeping an eye on, especially with Tito expected to release those numbers.
Exactly. So they have, held off on discussing those liabilities that are, of course, looming in the billions of dollars. And they said, watch out na lang for our second quarter report that will be coming out today. That's Monday. Meanwhile, you can see Dito Telecom down by 1 3/10%. But also, quite the downside here for PLDT as well and Converge. But take a look at Globe. That's going the other way. That's up by 1 8/10%. This, as they have also mentioned, that they're anticipating future earnings to increase because of that sale from the 7,000 towers. They said that there will be cost savings from the rent and the maintenance, and they will be using that to fund their network expansion, Jess.
All right, definitely telcos will be in focus at least for this trading day. Let's see how they perform by tomorrow. That's it for today, August 15, 2022. Join us again tomorrow at exactly 9:30 a.m. You can also catch us on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos.
And I'm Danny Laurel. Mask on, wash hands, stay safe, Philippines. We are One News, all sides, all the time.